Good morning, friends. Today we have a very exciting video. So for today's video, we're gonna see how much I can read in 24 hours. I've tried this a few times and failed miserably. I think I was successful once, and I read like 3.5 books, I want to say, which is pretty good for me. And the second one, I read 1 book and I ran out of time because I was leaving the country. This today is hopefully redemption for that. So let's go through my lineup of books. I just want to do a quick intro so we can get started. It is currently 8:10. So I'm hoping to get going by 8:30, or if we finish this intro before, fingers crossed, we'll get started before. My lineup, okay, so physical books, we only have 3 of them. So the first one is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I know this is really fast paced. It's the last book in the trilogy, so I'm hoping to finish this today. It's very ambitious. My whole book list is very ambitious. And then this is actually only a small one, and it is the novella called Fracture Me in the Shatter Me series. So it's very small. It's only the second half of the book over there, so I'm hoping we will be able to finish that. And then lastly, for physical books, I have Ninth House. I'm just over halfway, so I think I have about, I want to say 200 pages left. Hopefully we can finish that, but I'll probably pick this up close to the end of the 24 hours. Then the rest are all on my Kindle, so I'm just waking it up and then I will tell you what we have. So the first book we will be reading, I'll just pop a picture up, is Their Vicious Darling by Nikki St. Croix. I'm reading that series as well. I've read 2 books in the series, so this will be the 3rd. And then we have Sidetracked, which is the 2nd book in the Mindfuck series. And I think that's all for now. That is 5 books basically that I have on my list. I think I'm going to start with Their Vicious Darling. I think I want to start on my Kindle and then go on to the other books just to start getting the flow of reading. So rules for today will be, I'm not going to read for 24 hours straight. I will be breaking it up slightly. I will stop for a lunch break, but I will pause. Actually, I haven't even had breakfast. We will stop multiple times, but if I'm not reading, I will definitely stop my timer. I also will just read. I'm not going to do 12-12. I'll read as much as I can today and we'll complete the rest of the hours tomorrow. So let's see how that goes. I am very excited. I think my reading speed has slightly increased depending on the content of the book. If it's boring, obviously it's very different, but I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to get situated and then we'll start our timer and start this 24-hour readathon. Check-in time. I am currently on page 115 of my book. I started, what was it called? Their Vicious Darling, and I am 50% in, page 115. I'm so stoked. I actually read a lot faster than I thought I would, and we are currently 2 hours and 19 minutes in. I don't know if you'll be able to see the TV over there. Okay, so the clock over there says we have 21 hours, 40 minutes and 57 seconds left. So very excited. I'm reading so much faster. I do need to have some breakfast though. It is now 10 to 11, so I think I'm gonna take a little break just to make my breakfast. I'm just having like some chia pudding and then I will continue. But like I said, I'm surprised I've read this much. That's unheard of for me, but I am reading a bit faster. I also do like this series. I can't tell you too much about it because it is a sequel. It is kind of about, it's a dark retelling. I don't know if you saw in the beginning, but it's a dark retelling of Peter Pan, but it's like an adult version. Lots of smut in it, but it still has like a plot and a storyline, and it's one of my guilty pleasures, and I've been dying to read this book. It kind of, Peter Pan loses his shadow and then brings all the Wendy's of all not Wendy's, but all the Darling daughters to Neverland to try and retrieve his shadow. And Winnie is like so different from everybody else. She's very liberated, very like sex forward, so they take liberties from that, but she enjoys it. But yeah, he's just gotten his shadow back, which is a bit of a spoiler, which is why I can't tell you what goes on in this book. The previous book left off on a cliffhanger, so this basically picked up immediately after. Now we actually discovered why what happened. but I can't tell you too much in case you want to read this series. It is also on Kindle Unlimited, which is how I've downloaded it. I've seen one other person say that they enjoy the series, but if you're into like more dark romance slash fairy tale dark retellings, you'll love this series. I'm gonna go and have some breakfast and then we'll keep reading. Okay, we finally finished our first book. Finally. It wasn't that long actually. That was the quickest I've ever read a book, I think, and it was 250 pages and I did it in 4.5 hours, well 4:38. Quite stoked. We have 19 hours left, well 19 hours and 20 minutes. I think I'm going to start up a physical book now, so I'm going to start the Final Gambit, which like I said is the third installment of the trilogy, The Inheritance games. I don't really remember what happened in what was the second one called? The Hawthorne Legacy. I remember it also ended on a bit of a cliffhanger and they're still trying to figure out why the inheritance was left to Avery. But yeah, I'm very excited. I think this is going to take me a bit longer to read. If I had a guess, I'd say between 10 and 11 hours. It is 360 pages long. So I'm going to get going on this. I literally haven't moved much. I'm just in my bed. It's a miserable day outside today, raining. So I've just been in my bed reading all day. But I do also need to go and make some lunch. It is now 13:37, so 22. So I'm gonna probably have lunch at about around 2 o'clock. So I'm just gonna hunker down with this for the next 25 minutes before I need to eat. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It will be another series crossed off the list because this is the final book. I think I'm going to give Our Vicious Darling, I'm going to give it a 3-star. I've given every single book in the series so far a 3-star. It's not like the best series I ever read, but I love Peter Pan and I think it's the best retelling I've read thus far because it stays true to the original story in the sense that, I don't know, a lot of the plot is basically the same and it's just more adult friendly. I really liked it, but it's not like the best book I ever read, and obviously it's full of smut, but there was a lot of like fighting and it was a good plot line and it's easy to follow and easy to read, so I really enjoyed it. But no book has gotten more than a 3-star for me. I think it's a 3-star series. I would recommend it to people, but it's not like my very favorite book series, if that makes sense. But I like that fantasy element of it. Let's go start reading this book because time is a ticking. Okay, so I am about, how much is that? 8 hours and 42 minutes in, and I've just made it to halfway through this book. I look like a mess, I'm sorry. This is going very slow. It's definitely not what I thought it was going to be, and it's not as exciting as the first book. I just feel like there's too much put into it. The stakes are still quite high, but it's just not what I thought it was going to be, and it's taken me longer than I thought. I've been on this book for about 4 hours, I want to say, but yeah, I think halfway is not bad for that, but it's just going very slow. So I thought I'd just check in and let you guys know. Still have a ways to go, but I'll see you guys in a bit. Good morning, everyone. I look a bit worse for wear. I am so tired. 14 hours basically straight of reading took it out of me, but I was correct in saying that I would take 10 hours to finish that book. It was more like 9.5-ish. I'd round that off and say it was 10 hours. So we have 10 hours and 35 minutes left on the clock for today. I am exhausted. My eyes are literally aching. I have a headache, and I know it's because I just focused so hard on finishing this last night. I feel like a 24-hour readathon needs to be you need to pick books that are less, I don't know what the word is. So this book was fun and entertaining to a point. The plot line was, or the plot twist, shall I say, was predictable. I called it already in, I think, the 3rd or 4th chapter when the new character presented itself, and I knew there was something off about her, and I knew she had something to do with the rest of what was going on. I felt like the book needed to take a different direction after book 1 and 2. It was all the games, the riddles, someone bad interferes, someone gets involved, and the third book just followed the exact same blueprint, and I felt like that was a bit unnecessary and she could have taken it in a different direction. Like, the ending was okay, like what Avery did with the money in the end, I feel like that was great. It also just opens a segue into the spin-off series, which I definitely will not be reading. I've kind of had enough of that storyline. It's just been overdone now. As a whole, the series I would give a 4-star to, but unfortunately for the final gambit, I am going to give it a 3. I saw a lot of people say this about this book and I didn't want to believe it. I believe it now, and it could have taken a whole different route. It could have been a little bit more, but it wasn't, and I was a little bit underwhelmed, but it was still a good book. It was still entertaining and I got through it fairly quickly. Today, I think I'm going to start off, because my Kindle is on charge, so I think I'm going to start off with a second novella in here called Fractomy, which is, I think, Adam's novella, because the first one was Warner's novella. If you don't know, I've spoken about this plenty times on my channel, and I'm sure you can find other people who do too, but it's kind of a dystopian story about people who have powers, and then there is the re-establishment, which is kind of taken over the world and is like now a full world government, and then there are people who are going against them and kind of like a coup, and they have an underground society who all actually have power. But we kind of found, or trying to figure out, why everybody has powers. Yeah, it just follows Juliet, who was put in an institution when she was 15, and I think she's 18 or 19 now, and she has a deadly touch. When she touches someone, they unfortunately pass away, and she had an incident where she touched a little child and they just locked her away, but she was actually only locked away for, I want to say, 3 or 4 years, and the warden of the maximum facility was watching her, and he was really interested in her, and it just takes on from there. They plant a spy with her to like find out her mental state and all of that, and he ends up falling for her, but they actually knew each other back in school, so it's just following all of that. So it's kind of a love triangle between Juliet, our main female character, Adam, who was planted in her path, and then Warner, who is the warden. I love the stories so far. I've read the first book, second book, and then the first novella, so second novella will do now. It's really short, but I'm not entirely sure just how long, because it's just the second half of this book. So yeah, I'm gonna get going with that, and then I think I will read Sidetracked, which is the second book in the Mindfuck series, and then we'll see where we're at. But I think this will go fairly quickly, maybe I want to say a couple hours, but let's see how that goes. So I finished my little novella. There is a bit at the end where there's like Juliet's diary entries. I read a few pages of that and I wasn't in the mood. The font of it like really hurts my eyes, especially because I'm tired. But Adam's side of things were concluded already. So for this novella, I'm again going to give it a 3-star. I think I've given everything in this video a 3-star. That's not good. Anyway, finished it, 3-star. I liked it. I'm not sure about Adam anymore. I was rooting for him in the beginning, but now I'm not. But I'm glad I read this novella because I really want to read the next book, which is Ignite Me. So that was the little novella between the two. So I'm excited to read that. The next book we're going to read is Sidetracked, which is the second book in the Mindfuck series. We have 9 hours and 8 minutes left. It says this book should take a total of 3 hours and 1 minute. So we'll have to wait and see about that, and then we'll conclude this video with trying to finish 9th House, although I have like 200 pages of that left. No way I'm gonna do that very quickly, but let's see. Let's see. I'm excited to know what happens because the first book in the Mindfuck series was just introducing our two characters. So our main female character, her name is Lana. I can't remember what the male is called, but she is a serial killer and he's an FBI agent actually researching her case. But she's like changed her identity and stuff. Yeah, she went through something traumatic when she was a teenager, I want to say, and they hurt her and stuff. And now she has like a hit list where she's trying to kill everybody off on that hit list who had anything to do with what happened to her. And then obviously the FBI agent, they met by accident at a restaurant while she was doing like some recon. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I just feel like the books, if you read them separately, they are so short, it doesn't give you any time to actually connect with the characters. So I didn't feel really connected to it. And the first one I did give a 3 or 3.5 star to as well. I'm assuming this is going to be a 3 again. Maybe it'll get better the more the book builds because we'll get to know the characters better. I'm excited to see what it's about. I will check back in with you guys when I'm about 50% through the book, and yeah. Changed a bit because the sun's coming in and out. I don't know why this week felt like winter again. The weeks before we thought summer was coming. So yeah, I have a heater on, which is why I've switched position. As you can see, 7 hours and 20 minutes left. I've stopped a few times to eat breakfast, lunch, go to the toilet, and I stop the timer if I know it's going to take longer than a couple seconds. So time is running away from me at the moment. We are reading Sidetracked. This is very dark. Sidetracked, which is second book in the Mindfuck series, which I'm gonna get annoyed when I edit because I've repeated that so many times. I'm about 50% in now. It's 47%, so just close to 50%, and I didn't want to read any more before checking in. But I'm liking this one a little bit more. I think it's feeling more like a 3.5 now, so hopefully it will increase every time we read one of the books. The storyline right now is a little bit more action-packed, and it's more focusing on the cases and their relationship rather than just the murders, which I didn't like in the first book. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it now. I'm not reading as fast because I'm really tired. So all I keep thinking is like, I really want to take a nap, but 7 hours is still a long time. So I probably won't even do like my outro tonight. I'll probably do that tomorrow if I keep pausing and having to do stuff. I still need to do a workout as well, which I'll do like in maybe an hour. And then I pause the timer for that, of course, because I just want to literally read for the 24 hours. I can really feel that it's mentally impacting me because, oh my gosh, I can't even think straight. I walked around circles in myself. Last night, I have like a neck and shoulder problem at the moment. And I went to get a hot water bottle, and do you know what I did? Open the hot water bottle and try to empty it in the bin instead of in the sink. So my mind is a little bit loopy at the moment. I'm walking circles around myself. So yeah, definitely heading into a slump, I think, after this. But luckily, I'm not going to do much on the weekend. I downloaded some manga just in case I felt like reading, and then I can do that. That's the check-in for now. We're still going strong. I'm hoping to finish this book in the next hour and then move on to the last book we have. That book's going to be a struggle because it's so boring, but I'm determined to finish it. I don't want to DNF it. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. I will see you in a bit when I finish this book. I just finished the book, Sidetracked by St. Abbey. I liked it so much more, and I was anticipating the end because I kind of knew where it was headed. It was hinted at a few times. It did go where we thought it would, and I'm dying to read the next book. I'm torn whether I should just download it and read it next, or if I should actually finish Ninth House. But I think I'm gonna finish Ninth House, and I'll leave that for another day or another video. So stoked. I finished quite a few books. I think the trick to reading to these 24-hour readathons is to firstly read fast-paced books. Secondly, don't read chunks. chunks. Don't read big book door stoppers. You need to choose a book that's a good like length and it's not too drawn out, because that can cause a lot of fatigue. This did take me a little bit longer than I expected it to, but not by much. We still have 5 hours and 19 minutes left, so I'm just quickly gonna break and do a workout, and then I think I'm gonna get stuck into this. If in an hour or so I am just worn out because of this, I will download the next book, but I think I might download the third book in the series, and I can't remember what it's called, but I might download that and just start up on that, depending how I feel about Ninth House, because so far I find it very boring, but I just want to finish it. Another book finished. That leaves us at 1, 2, 3, 4 books, but I mean some of them were shorter than others, but still I finished 4 books in this readathon, so I'll calculate all the pages at the end, but I'm not sure if I'll check in again tonight, probably tomorrow morning. If I don't make the 5 hours tonight, I'll also just continue it tomorrow morning, and will still give us a 24-hour period. I'm really happy. So honestly, the last 24 hours have been so difficult. I feel completely exhausted mentally and physically because of the last 24 hours of reading. But we did it, and I probably read more books than I've ever read in 24 hours. So I'm really proud of that. Let's go do a little recap. I started the 24 hours off with reading Vicious Darling. Honestly, it went really fast for 250 pages, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that. I am really interested in the series, so I think that helps my case as well, and it helps me read a bit faster. And for Vicious Darlings, I gave that 3.5 stars. Then we moved on to the final Gambit, which I gave 3 stars to. I didn't like this book as much as I liked the other books in the series. It kind of just followed the same blueprint and it didn't add anything interesting into it. I knew the plot twist before it even happened. I knew it basically in the beginning of the book when one of the characters were introduced, and I just put 2 and 2 together. So I guess it is YA though, so it's not like the biggest mystery, but I would have liked her to try something different in the book just to make it more, I don't know, just round out the series nicely. But it was just the exact same book 3 times in a row with a little bit of difference. So I didn't love the book, but I gave that a 3 star. Would still recommend it. It was still fun and easy to read, but other than that, it wasn't my favorite. So I think that slowed me down slightly. Then we moved on to Sidetrack by St. Abbey, yeah, which is part of the Mindfuck series. I actually really liked this book a lot more than I did the first one. The first one I was like, I'm not sure about the hype, but I really did like it. It's taken a different direction from what I previously liked. Kind of like Haunting Adeline-esque, but not with that much darkness, but it still is pretty dark because our main female character is a serial killer and her boyfriend is an FBI agent. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to pick up the second one, and I gave that a 3.5 star again. And then we read Fracture Me, which is the novella between Unravel Me and Ignite Me from the Shatter Me series by Tahera Mafi. Really liked it again. We got a look at Adam's thoughts and processes. He was very selfish, and I think I'm done rooting for him, because I was rooting for him in the beginning because Warner is a psycho. Really loved it. Was a very quick read. I think I read that in like an hour and a bit. So yeah, very happy with that. Then we moved on to, I don't know why I didn't hold the rest of the books up, but Ninth House. And Ninth House, I was already at page 267, and I made it all the way to 417 last night, and then I just finished the book this morning. I'm going to give this a 2 star. It's described as a fantasy, but it's really not. It's more magical realism, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Would I recommend? Absolutely not. But I'm going to tally up all the number of pages I read and then change up my battery on my camera, and then we'll close up this video. So in total, we read 953 pages in 24 hours, and that's the best I've ever done. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please give it a like and a comment if you can. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.